Hey guys, what's up? Today I am really excited because I'm going to be reviewing a brand new eyeshadow palette. I purchased the Anastasia Beverly Hills eyeshadow palette, the Primrose palette. I don't know if you can see it or not, but this was a very interesting palette. This is the first one that they've launched for quite a while. I purchased it because I love the tones on the inside. It has lots of mauve tones, some purple ones, and some bronzy tones, which is what I really like for fall. But mine came broken. So the shade that I was most excited about, the Fire Opal shade, was broken. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably would have seen that. I don't know if you can still tell. This is the palette. But yeah, that beautiful Fire Opal shade was completely shattered. If you are wondering though, I was able to fix it. The Maybelline Lifter Gloss fits this pan perfectly. So I basically just packed it down with that gloss. And I think that I saved it. I mean, I can kind of rub my finger in it a little bit. I'm sure I might have to keep packing it down. But for right now, it seems to be okay. So this is what it looks like. There are 10 eyeshadows and 2 blushes in here. I did not use these blushes because I already had my makeup done before I decided that I was going to film today. Well, I had everything except for my eyeshadow. So I could probably use these blushes as a topper, but I already have blush underneath. So if you're ever curious about the products that I use in my videos, I link everything down below. So be sure to check in the description box. I think I'm going to do a bit of a dramatic look. I really want to use the Fire Opal shade. But for right now, I'm going to start by deepening up the outer corner with this color, which is called Rouge. And I'm going to use this brush from the Naked Honey palette that I got. It's double-sided, so I really like it. And I'm just going to build this up in the outer corner. Wow, it's very powdery. So I'm just going to pat this on and build it up a little bit before blending. This is very pigmented. When I do a more dramatic look, I like to use the darker colors first and then blend them out with the lighter colors. But if I'm going for a more everyday look, I like to do it the other way around because I feel like it's not as intense. So I'm just taking that same Rouge shade on the other side of this double-ended brush, and I'm just packing it as close as I can to the lash line. I'm not bringing it into the inner third though, just the outer area. Now I'm going to take a fluffy blending brush, and I think I'm going to go into the shade Honey, which is right above it right here. And I'm going to blend that color out a little bit. Okay, I feel like that color is blended out pretty well. I think I want to take this shade called Mango right here, and I think I want to deepen that up just a little bit more. I'm going to take Mango and Honey and mix them together and put it on the lower lash line to blend out Rouge, which is what we put on beforehand. Okay, so I'm taking a little bit of Claret right here, and I'm going to blend that close to the lash line on the outer corner, just to deepen it a little bit more. I liked that Rouge shade, but it wasn't as dark as I had hoped. Okay, I want to add some shimmer to the lid, so I'm going to take a small flat brush I'm going to spritz some Fix Plus on it. I really want to use that Fire Opal shade, so I'm going to see how it does. Okay, I think I did a pretty good job of packing it on there. Oh wow. So I'm focusing this on the center of the eye. I really like this shade. Okay, so I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but I think that this shimmer is absolutely gorgeous. And even though it came broken, it is not breaking apart in the pan as I push my brush into it. So I put a little bit on the tip of the brush, and I'm going to put that in the center of the lower lash line. Wow, that is so pretty. Okay, so now I'm going to take my finger. I'm trying to decide if I want to use sparkling amber or rose water. I think I'm going to take rose water. It's very chunky. I don't know if you can see that or not, but rose water is this first shade right here. And I'm going to put that on the inner corner and kind of blend it into the Fire Opal shade. Okay, so there's a lot of pink reflect in it. I did have some fallout down here. Not sure if you can see that on camera, but there's a lot of fallout. It's really chunky. But very pigmented. I like the effect that it gives. So now I'm just taking a bit of that rose water and blending it beneath the brow bone. I'm going to take some down to the inner corner and swiping it across the inner third of my lower lash line. There is so much fallout with this shade. I'm going to use the brush that I used to set my under eyes. That kind of worked. So this palette has gorgeous shimmers in it, but I would suggest that you do your eyes first if you want to use the shimmers in this palette, because they are kind of chunky and there was a lot of fallout with it, but I think it gives a gorgeous effect to the eyes. It's almost like a wet look, so I really like the effect that it gave. I just don't know if it's a good idea to put it on after you complete your base makeup. So I'm going to finish my eyes off camera and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I finished up the eyes off camera, popped on a lippy, and I'm ready to give my final thoughts on the palette. So I did get to use the blush shade. I went ahead and put a little bit of the lighter shade called Grapefruit right here on my cheeks over top of the blush that I already had on, and it was very, very pigmented. There was also a lot of kickback in the pan, but other than that, I really like the look that it gave. It goes very well with all of the eyeshadow shades, but it is kind of dark. It's a little bit darker than it is in the pan, in my opinion. So I think that the other blush shade called Saddle I probably won't ever get to use, and if I do use it, it will be very sparingly, just because that is quite a bit darker than Grapefruit. Grapefruit was perfect for me. I don't usually go super dark with my blush. I do enjoy this palette. It came broken, which I'm really sad about, but that honestly could probably be UPS. They sometimes throw packages in the yard, which sucks, but I know Anastasia had it wrapped in bubble wrap, and only one of the 12 shades in the palette busted, and I was able to fix it and use it for my eye look today. So I was really bummed out when I first opened it and saw that, but now I I think I'm okay with it just because I was able to fix it. I used the Maybelline Lifter gloss and I just pressed it down in there and held it for about 10 seconds and it kind of packed it enough to where I could actually use a brush. I don't know if I'd be able to use my finger though, since, you know, it is pretty much shattered, but oh well. I was able to use a wet brush and it looked absolutely stunning. I do have a lot of tones similar to the ones in this palette, but they're all in separate palettes. So for fall, I really like mauve tones or bronzy tones. This has both of those in a single palette, and it also has 2 blush shades, so I think that this is very convenient if you are going on vacation. You could take just one palette with you and then a bronzer and you would be fine. Usually, well, for me, I don't really take highlighter on vacation just because I typically stick to like basic looks, so I only use blush and a little bit of bronzer. Sometimes I only use blush. But I do like the packaging on this. It's very elegant. It's got like a raised texture to it. It's not the velvet like all of the other ABH palettes. And I've done a little bit of research on it, so I know that the pan size is bigger in this palette, which I like because the other Anastasia palettes, the pans are tiny, and honestly, you'd probably never hit pan even though they're very small, especially if you're like me and you have a ton of eyeshadow palettes. But I like that it's bigger because it's easier to fit my brush into. And I like that the blushes are as large as they are because it was super easy for me to put my blush brush into this shade to apply it to my cheeks. I cannot wait to dip into Sparkling Amber and Peony. These are very, very pretty. They're definitely calling my name. I think that if you like shimmers, you should definitely look into this palette because these shimmers are so beautiful. They are kind of chunky, but I like the effect that they give on the eye. So as long as you apply them in a certain way, I don't think you would have any problems whatsoever. The pigmentation is there and it blends beautifully just like all of the other Anastasia palettes, but you just have to use an eyeshadow primer, and I didn't do that today, which is fine. Whenever I'm in a hurry, I don't use an eyeshadow primer. Or just apply your eye makeup first and do your complexion afterwards, and then I think you wouldn't have any issues with this at all. But there is a lot of fallout on the face with the shimmer shades, not so much with the matte shades, at least for me. I love this palette. I'm going to get a lot of use out of this palette this fall, so I'm not upset at all that I purchased it. It is $55. Which is a little bit more pricey than their other eyeshadow palettes, but you're getting more product because the pan sizes are larger than in any other Anastasia palette, and you're also getting 2 blushes, which I've never seen in another Anastasia palette. So overall, I really enjoy this. I think that the look I was able to create is very beautiful and would go really well in the summer or the fall. So I am very happy that I purchased this palette, and I will be getting a lot of use out of it. With all that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for watching my videos. Be sure that if you are not subscribed, that you hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to ring the bell so that you don't miss any of my future uploads. I do upload videos every single week, and I hope that you all enjoy the rest of your day. Bye!